Rebound and rebuild.
In life, you don't lose, you learn.
Every one of us has potential.
100%.
The winner is...
Here we go. Rebound and rebuild.
Here we are again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Charles.
My brother. What's up, dude?
Oh, sorry.
That was a
Too far.
terrible adapt. Carlos the Creator.
Why did I use my right hand? I could have used my left hand.
There you go. That's a little better.
So how are you? Welcome, everyone. I'm sorry we started. We didn't even welcome all of you, but thank
What's up,
you for
everybody?
joining us on another episode of Rebound and Rebuild.
That's right.
Again, I'm so excited to be here, Charles.
Always, man. Sincerely, It's an honor.
Seriously. We went through a really good episode last week.
Yes, we did.
Talking about the fire and how we build fire and how to protect our fire.
Right.
And just so you guys know, the fire is not like a
real fire,
a real physical fire,
Boy
but
Scouts
it's basically the fire of your dream, your goal, your
vision,
your focus,
purpose,
your entrepreneurship.
That's right.
And again, this is Rebound Rebuild.
Yes.
We are here to share with you our experiences on entrepreneurship,
Right.
leadership, and grow your vision.
And
your dream.
kingdom business. That's right.
Yeah. So how was your week?
Bro, it was fantastic. In fact, I've seen you more this week than I usually do. We had another photo shoot in your incredible creative studio labs.
Yeah.
Bro, thanks again for having us. That was amazing.
Of course, yeah. Just quickly brief, like we said last week, my wife and myself extended our mother business, I guess.
Yeah.
We built a sister business called Hi Hello Labs in the heart of downtown in Orlando.
So beautiful.
And we have 4 labs that we're using constantly. Charles was here with his beautiful wife.
Yes, sir.
Just a few days ago, shooting
some more content
for their business and so on. So yeah, we're very excited. We are here in our studio that we built for us.
That's right.
But we are very excited. So that's one of my fires that I'm protecting. But today it's so funny that I'm a positive person.
Yeah, I believe that.
I don't like negativity. Every time I'm faced with negativity from either a circumstance or someone or a situation,
as well.
It really drains me.
Sure.
Just a few days ago, one of my friends told me that another friend said something about me, which shouldn't have affected me.
I understand.
But it really had a toll on me. And it's like it was for a few hours and then I was fine.
Understood.
But it was negative to the point where I was like, man, why would these people
have words to say at all?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like if you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Understood.
But people love gossip. And
that is true,
They love
man.
to talk and they love to say things about those. That's why the Bible says.
Yeah.
What was the Bible?
Well, he says a lot. The Lord
About
hates gossip. And, the eye, the beam in the eye.
Yeah, the beam in the eye.
Okay, so it's like when you look at your own faults versus another person's fault. So essentially what he's saying is that if you have a little speck in your eye, and I notice it, but I don't take time to notice I have a beam sticking out of mine, then I'm at fault because I need to take the beam out of my eye instead of coming at you and just gossiping about the little speck you have in yours. Yeah, that's a paraphrase. Make it easy.
Yes. I should know my Bible a little bit more.
It happens, man. And you probably didn't know you're going to go right there.
Yeah,
that's okay.
But that's the thing is like people naturally tend to focus on other people's problems instead of their own.
Sure.
And it's easy because it makes you feel better because your situation might not be where you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So criticizing or talking about somebody else helps you.
It's perceived to help, but it's
perceived,
help.
Of course. Because at the end of the day, life is life,
and you're still exactly where you are.
So what I'm really intrigued is that I've had this issue, where I love to share the good news that's happening with me.
Understood.
And it's almost like something that I've done, who knows how long. My wife is the same way.
Okay.
And we've had to learn now with business and with building our brands and our families and all of that, which by the way, I also have a podcast with my wife.
Yes.
Entitled Co-Called. So if you want to hear
a
podcast
shameless
on marriage,
plug.
shameless plug here, go check us out. Co-Called. Anyway, look us up. But in doing all of this, like I've learned that like I've had to like tone it down, or we've had to tone it down.
Yes,
because
it's maturity.
The moment we open our mouth and share about a dream or what we're doing,
right, something you're building,
that's the moment we open the door, or we invite
absolutely
people to have an opinion,
whether it's positive or negative. Doesn't matter.
And that's where we've had to like kind of basically zip it and shut our mouths.
You gotta shut up sometimes, man.
And we just can't like go on this like, oh, let me tell you what I'm doing.
Yes.
However, conversations typically start at, so what have you been? What have you been up to? What's going on with you?
Well, there's some thoughts to that. I used to listen to this song, and I forgot the artist all of a sudden, but he asked the question at the beginning. He said, when you ask, how are you doing? Do you really want to know? And are you concerned? So that's the first thing. A lot of times when we're having conversations with people, that question is just an air filler. A lot of people aren't genuinely interested in what's really going on, or they're already expecting a shorthand response. Yeah, doing good. Hey, man, wife and I had a good time last week. How are you? Flip it back to me really quick.
Yeah.
So that's the first thought. And the second thought is one of my favorite phrases. I learned it probably 3 or 4 years ago. It became very popular, and it's very simple. And if you keep it in your mind, it'll save you from a lot of things. It is 2 words: say less. I love that phrase because truthfully, it will save you from so many unwarranted or unwelcomed or unpredictable responses to your answer. Because you're right. When we open our mouth, we are inviting a response. Yeah. And we can't be upset, which unfortunately we typically are, at how a person responds based on what we say.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we make people so responsible for
hold them for what?
For their acts, when it's like
that's their position. They wouldn't have said anything if you didn't say anything.
If you decide to collect old cars and start renovating them, it doesn't mean that I'm going to like it.
That's right.
But if you like it, that's okay.
That is okay.
It doesn't matter.
That's right. And so the question is, and this I think is a great segue into our topic for the day, is who are you doing this for to begin with?
That's good.
Just think about it. Because I remember hearing, well, Dave Ramsey in particular, he has spoken at a ministry that I used to work at full time years ago. And whether you agree with Dave Ramsey or not, it's not the point. There's wisdom everywhere, as I always say.
Shameless plug. I love Dave Ramsey. I endorse Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, indeed.
I think we should all.
That's right.
I don't agree with the credit card side of things.
There's steps and everything. But again,
I take what I like and I leave what I don't.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. But he talked about some of the things that people are buying, whether it be liabilities versus assets and how they're spending their money, where they're going. Do you even know where your money is going? So essentially speaking, a lot of the stuff that we do, we're doing things for the opinion and perspective of others instead of looking at ourselves and thinking, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I feel about it. I am a person who doesn't believe in credit cards. Well, Carlos may love credit cards, but that's me. I also can't be mad because Carlos doesn't think like I do.
Which brings us to, we're not going to talk about vaccines, but respect each other's opinions,
respect, please.
Just be cool with
respect them.
everyone.
That's right.
However, facts are facts.
That's right.
Side note, but yes, like you said, who are we doing this for?
Right.
Many times, and this happens so often, and I encourage you to ask yourself, what am I living for?
Sure.
And if you're married or if you're single or if you're, doubly married or not doubly, but I mean,
at the same time, please.
You've been married for a long time.
Okay.
What dream you started, what vision you began.
Right.
Think about who you've built this or who are you creating it for.
That is right.
If you're building this, and sometimes, I've heard many motivational speakers say, if you're thinking about the money, then you're in the wrong place to do it.
100%.
If you're thinking about self-glorification, also,
absolutely,
essentially, you're going to come to a wall and you're not going to move on.
That's right.
But if you're thinking about supplying a need,
that is right.
That is where you're going to succeed.
Because that's your niche.
And what do you think? What does that mean? Supplying a need to whom?
That's right.
You're supplying a need to people. acts of service.
It's always going to come down to
I remember
service.
I said this a few podcasts ago of that motivational speaker. She said, think of helping others build their dreams, and eventually you'll come
to yours.
100%. But who are you doing this for? Who are you building this for?
Right.
And that's where it's like, it needs to matter to you only.
That is correct.
And that's it.
In our book, you always talk about our book. My wife and I have written a book, which is almost completed in terms of publishing. We have the digital course, but long story short, one of the things we talk about is when you are writing your vision and your dream and you're establishing the direction you want to go, a lot of people stop with the goal setting to how do I get there?
Yeah.
But they never ask the question, who will benefit from this product or service that I am actually producing? And how will it propel others, push others forward, or accelerate their lives? That is the question we always ask ourselves.
Right.
Because it is great. Yes, I'm not in any way knocking people who create products who are making and amassing millions, if not more, because they're smart and savvy business people. But on the other side of that money needs to be a mission. And it has to be bigger than the mission of the company.
Exactly.
It has to be a life mission.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the last thing we think about.
And we don't think about it till we're already rich and we're like, oh, I guess I should be doing something with this now.
We were dealing with a client, a potential client.
Okay.
They went in another direction, which is okay. And it's so funny because we deal with multiple types of clients. Some clients are very lenient. Some clients they trust us fully. Some clients question everything. Some clients don't even know what they want.
That's absolutely true.
But in this particular case, this client, they were very, I keep saying it's a they.
Okay.
Because it's a group. They were focusing on this whole idea of what's the word where you have franchising.
Okay, I see.
And I'm like, guys,
that's
great to have a bigger picture.
By all means.
And I fully endorse having a wide perspective on,
by all means,
where you see yourself.
That's right. How are you going to scale?
However, right now,
yes,
you have one thing.
That's true.
One franchise. Can you tell me that you're succeeding enough to understand that another
entity
franchise
or franchise
is going to be birthed out of that? And me and my wife were having this discussion because we were having a creative meeting to promote and with some of our team. And it was like, we're going to waste our time with these people. So at the end of the day, we had to tell them, listen, we fully understand where you're going to go and we believe in your business.
That's
you
good.
have a great foundation.
Good.
However, I don't think we are
the right partner.
The tool you need to get there.
Sure.
Sad to say.
Right.
But they were taken off guard because they weren't expecting us.
No one ever is.
But we did tell them, but please proceed, continue. You have a good product.
Good.
You have a good dream, a good vision. We love the story behind it.
That's how it should be.
But the way you want to go about it,
we can't be a part of that.
Yeah, first of all, you're not following our guidance,
which is why they came to you, which is totally different.
Exactly. You're basically the services you're requesting from us, you're not taking them.
That's totally different.
You're throwing your money away,
right?
And two,
and kudos to you that you didn't just take their money.
Exactly, because the thing is, sometimes I've been in the industry for a long time, so I know how easy it is to hey, okay, I'll take your money and get nowhere.
That's right.
But to be quite frank, I take it personal when a brand doesn't succeed.
Sure.
Because it means I didn't do my job.
100% correct.
Now, when I know for a fact that I did my job,
yes,
and the brand did not succeed,
not on us.
I dissect it to know it wasn't the agency or it wasn't the marketing or the branding side. It was the product itself or the founder itself. Yeah. So, but anyway, this client and we ended up asking the question at the end. I was like, what's your final target with this? Is it to provide a service, a great product to the community, to the city, or is it to be a billionaire.
Right. Ultimately.
One day you will be and you might be.
Right.
But you have ways to go.
Yes.
You're telling me Steve Jobs became a billionaire because it just happened?
Right. Randomly.
Or Bill Gates or Elon Musk?
Right.
No, they didn't. They suffered. They started with something small.
That's right.
They invested.
Stayed with it.
Consistent. They stayed with it. They screwed up. And they continued again. And, and I told these people, you have a great product. You just need to analyze yourself and know where it is you're going.
Sure.
And that's the question. It's like, who were they doing this for?
Yeah.
And why were they doing this
That's
for?
right. It's like the analogy, and again, not knock anyone who has incredible, beautiful, shiny, polished spinners or rims on their vehicle, because I don't ever want anyone to miss what I'm saying. But this is a great analogy I heard a speaker talk about. He said a lot of times we'll pull up to a red light in a vehicle to impress people that we don't even know, who don't even care, and we'll never see again. So our issue is that we're trying to look a certain way or make ourselves feel a certain way to people who don't care, because no one cares about those externals, especially if you're not helping them and you're not coming from a place where your internals are pure,
I get it.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, but I mean, I've fallen into that trap of like, I gotta look the part.
Yeah, I understand.
I gotta be the creative guy. Yeah. I'm creative, and and it's one of those things where it's like your brand is very much fitness,
right,
and entrepreneurship. So it's like leadership. So you gotta, it's part of your brand,
right?
But sometimes don't let that
let it overtake you.
Yeah.
Or your reality.
Exactly.
Because people overstretch themselves and overreach.
We are building, what me and my wife are building, and the different businesses we've built haven't been to just do something.
Right.
One, the goal has been to be self-sustained.
By all means.
Two, the goal's been to be able to provide education for our kids.
Yes.
And three, it's to be able to leave a legacy.
That's right.
For our future generations.
100%.
But it's never been to become
the ultra rich,
the ultra billionaire, gazillionaire, full franchises everywhere around the world.
Right.
It's just been to like legacy, provision, and protection. And we've seen the hand of God move in many things.
Sure.
Not the way we think we should have seen it or the way we've envisioned it or planned it, but we've seen it move. And that's where, as early business owners, or if you're just thinking about starting a business, or if you failed at a few businesses and restarted again.
That's okay.
The thing is, like, keep the integrity and the beginnings of that.
That is right.
What you're doing for pure.
That's right.
Because once you start mixing different sauces and seasonings in that pot, and
you mess up the recipe.
And it ends up tasting bad, and you end up throwing all the money, and you actually have to throw the contents out.
And then you're back to rebounding and rebuilding again. And you don't want to be in that endless cycle.
And rebounding and rebuilding, as much as it is to uplift you and like encourage you, it's also to like stop making the same mistakes.
That is 100% correct. We want that last phase, that rebuild, to be the one stage that you can build upon.
Yes.
Not have something tear it down or you cause the collapse.
Yeah. In our last episode, I was talking about, remind me, I think it was the last one or the one before.
Okay.
But me sharing the vision of labs with my father.
Yes, it was the one before. Not last week. The one before, I believe.
So if you didn't hear it, I shared how when we were thinking about opening the studios here in the heart of downtown, excuse me, I'm drinking some coffee. And I was telling my dad, we went shopping one day, and backtrack to when I quit my job.
Yes.
And I was telling my dad how I was feeling during that season. And he was obviously not in favor of me quitting. And because my dad's very mathematical and very linear. Right. It's like you can't see outside.
No outliers.
The math. And if the math doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense.
Which typically no one's doing math, by the way, because mathematically it made sense to you,
totally.
Financially, but
it's funny. Mathematically, it might not make sense to other people.
That's right,
because they don't know
what you got,
what we got.
That's right.
They don't know how much we got stored.
Going back to what we're talking about, keep your mouth shut.
Exactly.
You don't have to tell everybody everything. But go ahead.
And he told me, which I shared, that he was concerned about us starting something.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, it's like you're investing all this money.
Right.
Do you even have all this money?
Right.
And it was one of those things where I was like, Dad, I mean, I'm not dumb.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have come to you.
I wouldn't have, I'm not starting something just because I want to.
Right.
But I say all that to say is that even the closest person, my father, who's one of my best friends and we share everything, was concerned.
Right.
And I could have easily listened to him and been like, he's right.
Yeah.
I have 3 kids to think about.
Right.
I have a mortgage to think about. I have other businesses I'm already investing in. The last thing I need is to invest in another one.
Right.
But to be quite frank, and I shared this, he came to labs and he saw what we had built. Yeah. And he was like, I'm like excited.
Gosh. Yeah.
He was genuinely, I've never seen that attitude in him. Because again, like I said, he's very linear. I'm more of a circle. And he was like, I'm excited. And I was like, that so encouraged me. However, if I would have listened when I shared prematurely, none of this would have happened.
And I think that is a great point to make. So many of us are so excited about the things that we're trying to rebound and rebuild upon. Unfortunately, we don't recognize that the one thing that has kept us back or kept us from building was we were speaking before we got the pieces. Yeah. Or we didn't get so involved in the process. We were just excited in the thought of paradise, so to speak, right? Look at what I'm doing. This is amazing. But it won't always be amazing to everyone. And no one's going to see the vision like you see it. Yeah. So it's better to say less, express, hey, there's something that I'm working on and I would love to tell you a little bit more, but allow me to kind of get deeper into the details. Yeah. And then I'll come back to you.
And one of the things I want to encourage some of those people out there, not because you failed and you've lost everything and you've been destroyed, doesn't mean that you can't start again.
100%.
It might be harder, it might be more complex, and people might be looking down on you because they see you now as a failure. Yeah. And people don't let you forget.
That's true.
They forget more of your successes than your failures. They remember your failures more than anything else.
It's very true. And I often tell people, and I think we said this in our last talk, you only have to be right once. Yeah. So you can't get bogged into worrying about your failures as much as other people might, right? Because life is an evolving process. But there was one thing that you said prior to that, which I really want to touch on. I spoke years ago at a prison ministry. I literally went into the prison and gave a talk, and it was amazing. And I'll never forget some of the impact and the words that were shared with me. But one of the things that I said regarding the judging or regarding people looking at your success or your failures or et cetera, and they looking down on you, people have a right to. Doesn't make it right. But if you failed and you have a string of failures, so to speak, or by their perception of failure, that is how they see you. Doesn't mean that it is you. But you can't change their perspective. Yeah. You can change your life. Yeah. So focus on what you're doing as opposed to what's being said. Because honestly, it really doesn't matter unless you allow it to matter. Yeah. Doesn't mean that words don't hurt. Doesn't mean that sometimes you won't have to deal with your own emotion. But get back to the soul of why you're doing what you're doing and who you're doing it for. Yeah. Focus on that. Yeah. And people will come around. And it doesn't mean they don't believe in you either. You know what I mean? Sometimes people have just seen enough of someone try something and fail and all these crazy ideas, but they want to see you succeed. You just need to go work on succeeding first and then let them come back around. You weren't doing it for them to begin with.
Yeah, it's true. You know, it's something that I'm living with. It's something that we're going through right now. It's how to be careful with that. Yeah. And how to tell the right people or not tell the right people or the wrong people or whatever.
Understood.
Because we know by nature you are happy and you want to be happy. But sometimes, like, you know, just be smart be wise,
right,
and funnel things just through you and your partner or whatever.
That's right.
And then just act and show with actions
That's
what
right.
you've built instead of,
right.
One thing I told my wife, she was so excited about this place. And she wanted to bring people in so they could see. And I'm like, no.
Nope.
I'm like, the thing is, we don't have this up yet, and this isn't done, and this isn't done, and this isn't done. So what are you going to do? Walk people in and be like, well, there's something that goes here, and there's something that goes here. And you see it.
That's exactly
but they
right.
won't see it.
They won't see it.
So the only thing that they'll see is an empty shell.
No matter how much hard work it took, no matter what this building means, the funds, the courage,
exactly,
the sleepless nights. Seriously.
Exactly.
No one sees any of that. No. They'll come in and say, oh, well, that's unfinished. Oh, well, I guess it'll be good when it's done. And now you're frustrated. And now you're mad. You're like, well, I brought you here to my building. You can't see all this work. No.
And that's nobody's fault but yours.
100%.
And sometimes we blame because we don't want it. We don't want it to be our fault, but it's our fault. It's
entirely our fault.
So I think to wrap it up, be careful what you say.
Sure.
Who you say it to.
Yes.
And when you say it, make sure that you're ready to say it.
That's right.
Because you want to, like I said, by nature, people don't necessarily want to celebrate.
Right.
But when they see it, they'll celebrate.
They'll celebrate.
Just like it happened with my dad. Until he saw this,
yes,
then he was excited.
Yes.
But beforehand, all he saw was financial stress, worry, risk.
Everything's a risk.
Everything. But until he saw the finished product, that's when he was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it happens to many of us.
That's right.
And when you go put an order in for a baker or a cake or something,
sure,
you have a vision.
And it may not come out correct or to the degree that you thought about it.
See it. But whose fault is that?
100%.
Is that the baker's fault or is that your fault?
Right. Yeah. Unless the baker sucks.
Yeah.
That's totally different. Like then it's still your fault then because you should have done more research.
Exactly. But anyway, Charles.
My man. Got it right that time.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you, bro.
And again, to all of you guys, this is Rebound Rebuild. Share your stories. Share your testimonies. We want to hear.
We'd love to.
What's going on? And we want to learn from you too. So if you have things that you 100%. Want to teach us, tips, methods, anything.
That's right. We're growing too.
Yeah.
So if you have something to add, it will add value to us. And we're going to continue to add value.
Other podcasts, radio shows, whatever it is. We want to learn and hear from them. So until next time.
This is Coach Charles.
And Carlos, the creator.